You can't do a $99 fluid transmission service on a modern day vehicle and change 12 quarts full synthetic ATF. It's not possible. So we call it a vanity flush. I got a canned job in the system, and what's supposed to happen is put the brake fluid service on, and then they put vanity brake fluid service in there, and it's got the description of what's probably actually happening at that vanity service, which is if I pay your technician 0.2 to go do a brake flush right now, we're charging the customer $89. He's vacuuming
out the master cylinder and putting
vacuuming out the master cylinder and pouring some pretty fluid in the top side. And so that's what the description says.
The following program features a bunch of doofuses talking about the automotive aftermarket. The stuff we or our guests may say do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of our peers, our sponsors, or any other associations we may have. There may be some spicy language in this show, so if you get your feelings hurt easily, you should probably just move along. So without further ado, here's your host, Mike Allen, with Confessions of a Shop Owner, presented by Techmetric, the best software ever invented for any purpose, ever.
Good morning, Matthew. How are you?
Doing very well, sir. How about yourself?
All right. Is it Matthew? Is that your name?
I mean, you talking about my biblical name, or are you talking? That's my that's on the birth certificate.
I think I'm going to start calling you Matthew occasionally.
That's fine.
So before we get too far into it today, I just wanted to know: can you tell the new swag that's on my desk?
I see it. Is it actually autographed?
Oh, buddy. Yes.
How much did that set you back on eBay?
This was a gift. Actually, I love the picture on the back is even better. You with the mossy oak and the gun over your shoulder. That's super high quality. No, one of our listeners sent this to me, the great Hunt Damrest.
Okay.
He said he had it with him at the meeting in Toledo, but he was keeping it for me. So he almost gave it to you.
That's pretty good.
I just put that right
so
next
you'll have to ask Dan Buss about his.
Does Dan have one too?
Dan actually bought one on eBay.
That's awesome.
Because I was showing him at one of the meetings that I said, it's been 14 years now since I've been in a car, and I still have hero cards that sell for like between $1 and $5 on eBay. And it was really a joke that I showed him, because I was like, it used to always amaze me that people would come up and know who I was and ask for my autograph, because in the grand scheme of things, it's not like I was Dale Earnhardt Jr. or, Jimmy Johnson or anything. So I was always surprised, and then it made me laugh even more when I found out people would actually try to sell my autograph on eBay. But I thought I was doing pretty good to hold value after 14 years. You have to start going to car shows
and signing events.
Yeah.
You can go to automotive trade shows and do signing events. I think Techmetric has hired a driver who I think just retired out of the Xfinity series, maybe.
Yep.
Is one of your guys. So you guys can get together and compare notes to what it feels like to lose to me in go-karts.
Yeah, that's it.
What? Okay. It's so funny that I'm so obsessed with this, and you guys are like, this is fucking child's play, man. Okay, it's the only thing. I was never the star quarterback in high school. I got picked on a lot. All right, this is my one thing.
You got rush hour karts, man.
Yeah, I've got rental go karts. That's the only thing that I really excel at. Hey, so
we all need something, Mike.
Dare to dream. Dare to dream. All right, so we are meeting in the mid-late April, but we're going to be talking about March, so I guess I should pull up March numbers. I'm sitting here looking at April numbers. How are things going in your world from the shop perspective?
Yeah, it's been good. Glad to get past the winter months of things. I'm tired of the cold weather until we wake up today and it's
gorgeous.
Right back to being 39 degrees outside. So
it's gorgeous right now, man. It's beautiful.
But it is nice outside this afternoon. Yeah. But yeah, no, things are good. We had a good first quarter, had a record March, and still left a little meat on the bone, and I'm so excited to see what the summer is going to bring for us.
Very cool. And you guys just finished a Fly with the Eagles course. Was that in California?
Yep. So we had a Fly with the Eagles course out in Los Angeles in February. That was a fantastic event. Had 68 68 attendees there. So that was a record attendance for that event for Elite. That was really a lot of high level operators in that room. It's always a place. I tell you, man, it's kind of neat to go out there because LA is such a big town, obviously, that all of those shop owners are in the same association, kind of like.
Look, here's the deal. I like to think that I'm pretty good at running an auto repair shop. It's what I've done for 20 plus years, but I'm not good at managing a marketing budget and all the different facets of a truly well-rounded marketing plan. There's mail, there's local advertising, there's website, there's Google AdWords, there's all the different things that go into that, and it's just not what I'm good at. So what I've chosen to do is to buy myself the time to focus on what I am good at while having someone else execute on all of those things at a way higher level than anything I could ever do. That's what turnkey auto marketing does for me. So if you feel like you could use some of that same magic, I'm going to recommend that you go to turnkeyautomarketing.com, get a free consultation, tell them that I sent you, tell them that Confessions of a Shop Owner sent you. You won't be disappointed.
TechMetric is the all-in-one software solution for auto shops. It can do just about anything.
How can I build trust with customers?
How much? TechMetric can do that.
How can I do an inspection faster?
TechMetric can do that.
How can I make this as painless as possible?
TechMetric can do that.
How can I run my shop from anywhere?
TechMetric can do that.
Can I just pay for my repair from my phone?
TechMetric can do that.
How can I be a better man?
You could try putting your crap away, Dennis.
Sometimes you just need to put your crap away. But for shop productivity, increased revenue, and a better customer experience, TechMetric can do that.
ASTA, and they're all competitors with each other, but they're lifelong friends.
Yeah, it's
And
ASTCA out there, right?
Yes. I always get that one confused with the pet agency. Is that the ASPCA?
Yeah, copy that. Well, I'll tell you that I just got back from Fort Collins last week, where I went to Huska Automotive in Fort Collins, Colorado, for our Elite 20 group meeting, pro service, and I was talking to a couple of different people who had been at that class in LA and talking about how they went 15 years ago and it's totally new, and they were raving about what a good class it was. So when is the next one?
So we have the next one coming up this coming month in May in Charlotte, North Carolina. And
is it
and
sold
like
out,
I
or do you
said,
still have space?
do what now?
Is it sold out, or do you still have a couple seats left?
We have a few seats left.
Okay.
So if you are interested in it, I'd strongly encourage rush to the website, get signed up. We usually fill up fast a couple weeks beforehand. Us shop owners are procrastinators and do things at the last minute. So, but we're excited about it. We've been making subtle changes to it over the last 2 years. And the last two events that we did, we kind of took some big swings at the bat and made some wholesale changes. And, based off the feedback and kind of how our subjective feelings about how it went afterwards, we feel like it was all for the good, and we got a really good response out of it, and excited to kind of see that class continue to grow and develop.
Well, I think what I heard was 3 days of intensive from you and Marconi were pretty impressive stuff, and people were very impressed with how you've taken the groundwork and the basic bricks that were started by Cooper and taking it up to the next level. So good on you on that front. I do want to drop a word about a class that I'm actually hosting through the podcast in June. It is Saturday, June 13, which is the second Saturday in June. Everybody come into Raleigh on Friday night. We're going to have live shenanigans at Car Fix Bar and Lounge upstairs. Don't drink too much because we got class starting in the morning. But Seth Thorson taught a class at Vision. It was a 3-hour-long class about creating your own AI agents, because right now everybody's rushing to market with AI tools that you can pay them $400 or $500 a month to use that tool. His point was, if you get a little bit of knowledge and do a little bit of practice, you can learn how to make your own AI agents that do a lot of those things for yourself in-house. And so he was able to scratch the surface at Vision in a 3-hour course. This is 9 hours. This is all day. So it'll be, breakfast, lunch, and dinner provided. It's going to be a great class. Haven't decided yet if we're going to have it at the shop or if I'm going to have. It depends on how many people are coming. If we get too many registrations, then we'll have to get a meeting space at a hotel room somewhere. But I think it would be fun to do it at the shop. But again, that's Saturday, June 13. Come down a night early for shenanigans at CarFix, and then get your learn on all day Saturday and go back and rule the world on Monday. So you should come to that. It'll be an easy drive for you.
You can count me in on that one. That's right up my alley. I love that kind of stuff.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'll have links to sign up and pricing information and everything before this episode is published. So that'll be in the show notes for the episode. And if you don't see it there, just hit me up on Facebook Messenger and I'll get it to you. Cool.
Sounds good.
So let's talk about March.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So March at my reporting store was not great. It was not terrible. We traded places with service advisors. One needed to go back to the downtown store. And so anytime you have a small store with one primary selling advisor and you trade people, that creates a little bit of upset for the customer base. Not seeing the guy that they know. And so the guy that is there, though, is doing great, starting to build relationships, he's already starting to have customers that are returning for previously declined work, that kind of thing. So I'm happy to see that. Car count was not where I wanted it to be last month. But part of that was, I think, due to spring break and us being on campus. That always has a major impact. So 214 cars last month, and the ARO was 393, which is a real big problem. It's not where we want to see it at all.
Okay.
But again, there was a little bit of the yips because it was a new advisor, a little bit of frustration with spring break. But ultimately, I think the biggest issue that I'm dealing with there right now is tech average quote had fallen down pretty badly, because that $400, I'm going to call it $400 for rounding up to the nearest 10, was 32% close rate. So that means that tech average quote was like under 1,200 or right at 1,200, which I don't like to see. So that's actually... Go ahead.
Is the tech staff there pretty much the same?
There's one person that's different, but the skill level is pretty much the same. I've got one strong tech, one kind of low B, and one GS.
Okay. So do we feel like something changed on the technician inspection side, or do we feel like that was more of the new service advisor trying to learn the processes?
I think what it is while the service advisors that I swapped, they'll both do fine from a customer face. They're both really good at customer service and building relationships and selling. The advisor who went out and went back downtown has a lot of automotive knowledge, and the one who came in does not. And I think that is playing a factor into reduced tech average quote, because he's not spotting maintenance items that weren't recommended. He's like, hey, I checked Carfax and this thing never had its XYZ service, and that there's no drip tray picture. Go take me a drip tray picture. And so that's a little bit process from the guys doing the DVI, and a little bit of just automotive knowledge and accountability from the service advisor to the guys doing the DVIs. So I think that's what's doing it. But already this month, as we started talking about it, ARO is up $100 and closing rate's the same. So that means tech average quote's up 300.
Okay.
So
based off our previous conversations, I feel that I'm accurate here, but I don't want to assume. I want to ask the question. Most of the workflow at that store is going to start off with some sort of a quick service, I'm guessing.
Yeah, correct.
But it's not a heavy diagnostic shop or anything like that. You're getting students
it's like
coming in for an oil change.
Place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are most of your appointments pre-scheduled, or do you guys have a lot of walk-ins?
It's like 50+% walk-in.
Okay. All right. On the pre-scheduled appointments, do you build the appointment the day before? Like, do you build the RO the day before?
No.
Okay.
Should we?
Well, I'm not saying that you have to. We're trying to solve tech average quote, and we're trying to talk about what the advisor can do to add to tech average quote. I think one of the things that I find with advisors not doing the preventative maintenance stuff is in the moment they don't have time.
Yeah,
right? They feel like that adds time to the presentation and to the estimate, and they get rushed and they want to get to the customer concern or the big safety item, and they leave out the other stuff.
Gotcha.
So one of the ways that you could solve that issue is for your pre-scheduled appointments, go onto the calendar the day before, all the ones that are confirmed, have them before they leave, go ahead and create the RO in the estimate status. So nothing's approved yet. So you're still leaving it on the estimate side of things. And then they can go through Detect Auto from there and build out all of the preventative maintenance items that it's due for, and add in any deferred work if the vehicle has been there before. Now you've got a pre-built ticket. In most cases, if the car's been there before and hasn't done all the fluid maintenance services, you're probably looking at a $2,000 quote before the technician ever gets it, right?
I like that. Yeah. Why do you always come up with these like common sense, we should fucking know how to do that already things that hit me in the forehead? Like
because
that.
I sit here for 8 hours a day and wonder why we're not doing it either.
Fair enough. All right. Good enough. All right, Kyle, you heard that. We're going to take 10 minutes at the end of every day and just look at the appointments for tomorrow. And we're going to go ahead and open the ticket and build out the deferred work and go ahead and run Detect Auto and look at the deferred maintenance or the overdue maintenance and have that ready to go. Now, are we going to be presenting that to the customer at write-up, or are we going to wait for the DVI to come in? And
so, I mean, I think obviously that depends on how you want that process to go. My conversation would probably be my preference would be if it's a returning customer, I would like to cover the deferred work from the previous visit.
Hey, everybody, I'm going to take just a quick minute out of our show to talk to you about one of the favorite tools that we have in my company to help streamline and make our guys as efficient as possible, and that's Detect Auto. I've been talking about Detect Auto for almost a year at this point, and my team still loves it. And if you listen to the show, you know that I love the idea of bringing in skilled individuals from outside of the industry to add to our shortage within our trade, right? But one of the problems that you run into sometimes with that is that these guys and gals might not have a full automotive knowledge just yet. And as a technician, if you've ever gotten a repair order that says check noise, you know how infuriating that can be. Well, this tool, the customer concern tool, is designed specifically for that. The advisor can put in 1 or 2 or 3 words about what the complaint is, and then it's going to prompt them all the questions that they need to ask that customer. And then it puts that into a paragraph form that's easy to understand for the technician, so that technician's not getting check noise, check vibration. They're getting all the information that they would like to have from the customer. It just makes things more efficient. It makes guys in the back happier, and it just makes the business run more smoothly. If you want to find out more about this and the other tools available on Detect Auto, just reach out to us through the link in the show notes.
Okay, here's the deal. At Vision, I recorded an episode with Keith Perkins and Seth Thorson, and I figured that we were going to talk about NASTIF stuff the whole time, but we ended up talking about AI the whole time, and they had just taught a class on building your own AI agents within your business, and it was an incredible conversation. And then after we recorded that, I went out into the show floor at Vision, and I talked to a ton of people who had been in the class, and they were talking about how 3 hours in that class had changed their entire perspective on AI, and they were building their own tools in just 3 hours of training. It blew my mind. I've got to have that in my business. And so here's the deal. On Saturday, June 13th, I'm flying Seth to Raleigh, North Carolina, and we are going to have a full day, not 3 hours, but a full day class, breakfast, lunch, and dinner included. If you want to come down the night before on Friday the 12th, we're going to do Friday night shenanigans at my business at the Car Fix Bar and Lounge. It's going to be a great time. I think it's going to change the nature of how we do business. This class is for owners and GMs only. There are limited seats available for this class because it's very hands-on. You're going to need your laptop. You're going to need an active subscription to the AI of your choice. I recommend ChatGPT ChatGPT and Claude AI. Early sign up discount, it's $8.99. If you sign up after May 17, it's $12.99. Tap the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on your screen to learn more. It's going to be awesome.
Just because it makes sure that we don't lose the priority of it, right? Hey, last time you were in, we talked about, the vehicle needing some rear shocks. That's something we're going to keep an eye on today, especially if it was a red item that was declined the last time. I would attempt to resell that at the front end. If it was a yellow item, I would let them know that we're going to take a look at it again. Hey, last time we were in, we said we were going to keep an eye on those brakes for you. They were at 5 millimeters. I'll make sure to take a look at them. If they're at or below 3 millimeters, today would be a great day to get them replaced, right? Something along those lines. So you're kind of setting yourself up. And then the same thing with the fluid maintenance services. I'm not going to do a hard sell for the fluid maintenance services, other than if it's a low mileage vehicle and I can get them on a BG oil plan, inside that 50 to 70,000 mile window. I would probably try to sell that on the front end.
Copy. So I do want to I've had the BG guy in once to do a lunch and learn with the front of house guys in Raleigh about, giving them some word tracks and the ability to describe the value and the service and the warranty, and using their protection plan as a tool to get engagement in that service. But I feel like we're not really executing on that at a high level yet. But the dude who came in and did the lunch and learn also, I think it was like his second month with the company. So I gotta call him up and get another MOA coffee mug.
Yeah, I mean, they have a great program. They have a great product. It is difficult on the advisor side of things, just because I think the corporate world has set the wrong expectation for what preventative fluid maintenance is. What we try to do, I wish I could get a higher level of adoption rate on this, but I understand the reason that's not. But what we're trying to move to is putting 2 fluid services on every ticket. So we have the BG service, and then we have a downsell option. And the downsell option is we call it a vanity flush. Just because, you have a lot of corporate stores in your area, AAAs and Firestones and Goodyears and, Mr. Tires, and they're running $89.99 brake flush specials and all that kind of stuff, right? And especially a transmission fluid service, there's a vast difference in price and what you get for that price but from a customer standpoint, we all call it the same thing, right? But you can't do a $99 fluid transmission service on a modern day vehicle and change 12 quarts of full synthetic ATF. It's not possible. And so we call it a vanity flush. And so I got a canned job in the system, and what's supposed to happen is, they put the brake fluid service on, and then they put the vanity brake fluid service in there, and it's got the description of what's probably actually happening at that vanity service, which is, if I pay your technician 0.2 to go do a brake flush right now, and we're charging the customer $89, he's vacuuming
out the master cylinder and putting
vacuuming out the master cylinder and pouring some pretty fluid in the top side. And so that's what the description says. And so the word tracks there is, hey, we have 2 different options here. This is what you should do. We have this one because it'll beat any price in town. So if you're price comparing, this is probably what you're getting from a service standpoint. I'm just the one that's telling you on the front end, right? Yeah. So that wouldn't be exactly how we would say it, but that's kind of that's the point that we're trying to get across is, if you see another brake flush out there for $89, they're probably not bleeding the brakes at all 4 all 4 calipers and spending 45 minutes to an hour doing it with a flush machine. They're sucking it out, pouring some fluid in. The technician scrolls Facebook for 5 to 10 minutes and then, pumps the pedal up, test drives it, and brings it back around.
Do you think that's actually happening?
I know it is. Have you talked to your technicians that you've hired from some of the corporate stores or some of the dealerships that are doing the used car inspections and stuff like that?
I haven't hired anybody from a Firestone or anything like a AAA in a long time, but
Yeah. So it's been a while for me too, but I did, when you're, especially in where I had zero industry experience, so I thought those were better, right? Like I thought if I was hiring somebody from a big franchise store, I'm like, man, I'm getting a good one here. And, but I would go talk to those guys, and that was common practice.
that's dirty, man.
And I'm not going to say every one of them did that. And obviously each one of those franchise stores is only as strong as the manager at the store.
Yeah.
And, there's different skill levels of technicians at all those places. So there's great people out there that work at those, and there's great franchise stores out there. I don't want to downgrade all of them, but the pricing structure does lead it to, and, the pricing structure and the pay plans oftentimes lead to shortcuts, right?
So what you're saying, Matt Lofton of Elite Worldwide, is that any technician who works at a corporate store is cutting corners and doing it cheap.
No.
Oh man. So
no, but I mean, it's out there in the industry, right? I mean, take alignments, you see the alignment specials out there for $69. It's a tow and go. I mean, you know what it is. I know what it is. And I just got really tired of trying to explain all that to customers. And so I'll give you the option. I'll give you exactly what their service is. Now, how many times do we actually sell that? My hope is to never sell it. It's really just there for a conversation starter.
Yeah, when you make it sound terrible like that, nobody's going to buy that. That's good.
Yeah,
it's just so it's illustrative.
Yeah, just an illustration, just a visual sales aid, and then if we had to, if we had to compete on price alone, it gives us a starting point in the conversation.
This will make your fluid pretty for a little while. Until you get out of sight. Anyway, well, that's an interesting. I like the idea of having a, you're laying the McDonald's cheeseburger next to the Ruth's Chris cheeseburger, and sure, they're both cheeseburgers.
Yeah,
one's a lot cheaper. They'll both fill you up. Yeah, one's going to make you feel gross after, the other's not.
That's right.
Cool. Okay, so what I'm taking from this is pre-build tomorrow's estimates. Go ahead and run Detect Auto. Go ahead and pull in Deferred and refresh the estimates as needed. When appropriate, if it's a red deferred item that hasn't been addressed, go ahead and try to sell that at the counter at drop off, and plant the seed for anything that's yellow deferred. Or Detect Auto maintenance recommendations, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But if it's maintenance services, then, you plant that seed that are overdue, and then you can always get the drip tray pictures and say, hey, we thought we were going to see this. Confirmed that we did see what we thought we were going to see. So
the other thing that does is, as they're building those, they see what their potential is for the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm building that ticket, I should be paying attention to what kind of car it is.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm running through Detect Auto, I'm running through past how many times have they been here before, where are they at with their interval services of what's due and what's not due. So I'm getting a better idea about what kind of opportunity that car is, because the other thing that drives down tech average quote and ARO is, if we pre-schedule a bunch of 2024 Hyundai Kias,
yeah.
It's nobody's fault. It's just the way the schedule worked out today, right? We drove in.
That's no excuse. I don't care what year they are. This is an average, so don't be using that as an excuse. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Well, it is an average, but if all of them are the average, then it will affect the average there. So, but it's still not an excuse, because if we know that, now we know. So if you think about car count is really there to generate opportunity, right? If I could get enough opportunity off of one car, I would do one car, because it would be easier to fix one car a day than it would be to fix 20.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, your car count goal really needs to fluctuate with what the available amount of opportunity is for what you have coming in. So if he's printing out those ROs for tomorrow today, and he looks at it and he goes, ooh, we got 7 pre-scheduled appointments tomorrow, but none of these are going to have good opportunity. Well, those 7 cars don't count. right?
Yes.
We need to get on the phone and we need to figure out where we're going to get 5 more cars from that are going to give us some opportunity.
So maybe that's something that, the idea, what we're trying to implement is 10 and 2 touch points, that we're giving updates at 10 and 2 so that we don't have to deal with those inbound calls asking for updates. And if we were on top of that by 3:00, usually there's a little bit of a lull before the pickup push starts. Maybe that's the time to start pre-booking and or pre-building estimates. It's also a good time to look at all the pre-books that you got to make for pickups.
Yep.
We're still struggling with pre-books and getting engagement with that. I will tell you that the advisor at this store is the best in the company at that.
Okay. Now, do you
that
feel like you're struggling with it at the advisor level, or do you feel like you're struggling with it at the customer level?
advisor level? 100%. Customers don't care.
Okay.
Hey, my job's to be your car guy. Part of being your car guy is to remind you when you're due. I've set a calendar reminder. I'm going to call you and remind you when you're due. It's easy.
Do you feel like you would get better adoption if they felt like they were giving the customer something?
I don't know. Elaborate.
So one of the things that we have found that works well in shops where the advisors really, really struggle with this, a lot of times they feel like, because advisors don't see themselves as salespeople. As much as we would like them to be salespeople, they don't, most of the time when you talk to them, they don't consider themselves salespeople. They consider themselves the advisor. I'm helping somebody with their car repair.
I'm a customer advocate.
I'm a customer advocate. Yeah. So, so they like to do things they like to help people. Right.
Yeah.
So
you can be into sales and still like to help people. They're not mutually exclusive.
So, we've made some pre-booking incentive programs, that have really helped. So that kind of prompts the advisor like, hey man, you want to help everybody, right? Well, if you don't pre-book and you don't have this conversation, they're now paying more for that next service than they could have if you would have just pre-booked the next service. Things like a buy one, get one offer, on an oil change package. They pre-book today, they get their 2 oil changes pre-booked on the schedule. If you want to do the pit stop program like we talked about before, you can make that a contingency for the free oil change. They have to show up to the pit stop program. So now you've got 4 oil changes booked.
All right, there's going to be listeners who have not heard that previous conversation. Give us like the 3-minute pit stop program overview.
Yep. So the pit stop program, if you guys went into your bays and you asked your technician that's doing the oil to pull a dipstick on every single car that comes in and check it before he does the oil change, and you check the oil level, you're predominantly going to see that most vehicles are low on oil now. If you read the owner's manual is going to tell you that 1 to 3 quarts of oil between oil changes is normal consumption, and that the owner should be adding that 1 to 3 quarts of oil. I don't see a lot of empty quarts of oil in my vehicles, when they pull into the bay. So the dipsticks are low. So I'm assuming they're not adding that oil. So Joe Marconi, this is something that he actually did years ago at his shop, and he pushed me on it for the last 3 or 4 years. And we finally started implementing it last year to go along with our other oil change annual maintenance program that we have. And it works really well. So we set our oil change interval at the 6-month mark for the oil change itself. And then we call it it's a halfway stop, is a pit stop is what we call that. And essentially the vehicle comes in, we top off the fluid levels and then check the high level wearables, tires, brakes, wipers, bulbs, those types of things. The car does not go on a lift. We're not doing a full basic because we just did a full inspection on it 90 days prior. And it's really just another touch point where we get to talk about deferred services. We get the customer to come back in. My goal for that is I'm in a race to get the customer in the door 4 times as fast as I can. If I can get them to show back up 4 times. So I had a client that works with us through Elite, and we were working through their marketing company to get some data on the retention rates. And their marketing company did a great job of putting this report together. And I was like, that's a pretty neat report, because they broke it down by a first-time customer coming in. What is the retention rate to get them back in for a second visit? Once customers have come in for a second visit, what does it take to get them back in? What is the percentage that comes back for a 3rd visit, 4th visit, and so on? And so I thought that was really cool report that they did. So I pulled a lot of other customer data along with my own, and I ran it for 10 different shops. And we found it kind of was very similar amongst all of them for at least the 1 to 2. All right. So it's you have about a 40% chance to get that customer back in after the first visit.
Okay.
After that, those good quality shops that have a good experience, you're looking at 70, 80%, of retention rate or higher once you got them back for a third visit.
Okay.
So my plan is, well, how do I get as many first-time customers to come back to the third visit as quickly as possible? And
because by then they trust you, and
by
you get
then
a
they trust you.
relationship. Yeah.
Yep. So
especially if it's the same face and the same voice that they talk to every time.
Yep.
This is the F1 Garage. My name is Jonathan Craig. Let me start that over. My name is Jonathan Craig. I'm the owner of the F1 Garage in Houston, Texas. Best thing about my day is walking into a shop just like this and looking at these cars. I was introduced to Techmetric probably about 1.5 years ago. Being a one-man shop, everything works very smooth, whether I'm technician, service advisor, tracking the numbers, stuff like that. Techmetric just makes everything efficient, professional. My ultimate favorite car would be the McLaren P1 GTR. I've got it permanently on my arm here. That's what I'm working towards. The customer experience with the software has been great. They love the digital inspections I'm able to provide, the online approvals, the ability to go ahead and pay before they get here. I'm much more in the future than a lot of these other shops. All around good program. I love it.
Yeah, and so that pit stop is one quick, easy way for them to come back in. It doesn't cost them any money. You're doing a value add service, and I'm sure you're like me now, where you hate to see an engine ticket, get approved. Nowadays you like the dollar amount, but you just know, right?
Yeah.
You just somewhere in the back of your mind, all the past pain kicks in, and you just got a bad feeling that some kind of way it's going to go sideways. So that's what we built into our word tracks there. Hey, we do this because we got really tired of replacing engines, and we're doing large engine repairs on modern vehicles because of low oil level and the damage that low oil level does over time. And this is a quick, easy, cheap way for you. Yeah, you could go buy the oil and do it yourself, or you could come here and we'll do it for free.
So I was at my pro service meeting last week, and we were talking about effective labor rate and some of the indicators and things that impact that and affect it. And one of the guys was Michael Putnam from Tamrock's Automotive. And he was talking about he has variable target effective labor rates. He's got one that is like the overall average for the company that they aim at, but he makes a judgment call on the risk factor of the job. If this goes sideways, how badly is it going to, screw up our day? And how badly is it going to mess up things? How much is it going to cost to fix this if it goes sideways? And if it's a very high risk, then the effective labor rate needs to be very high to stomach that risk. And so his estimating process varies based upon the risk of the job involved. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So if
we do something very similar. We just do it through GP per hour.
Yeah.
And that's, and Techmetric, your wonderful sponsor, and that gorgeous hat you have on. They have a neat little tool inside of the program there that they came out with earlier this year that lets you set a min max on the GP per build hour. And, so we have that built in and say, hey, it needs to be higher. It needs to be closer to the max on these specific jobs. And we know we'll lose some of those. What we try to do from there, we call it selling the exit. And so if let's just say we get one of those large jobs like that, and we price it where it's realistic for us to do it, right? We're going to cover our risk. We're going to make good money off of it, and we're going to absorb anything that could happen inside of there. And the customer says, no, it's outside of the budget. They agree that it needs to get done. They want to get it done. If we would have given them the right number, they would have chosen us to get it done, right? So at that point in time, we'll sell the exit to another repair shop that's closer by. And, he's a sole proprietor, owner, operator. He's the only employee in the business, and shop right there beside his house. And he likes doing that big work, and
good for him.
We shoot it right over there to him.
You know what ends up happening is you get a job and you really don't want to do it, and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to price it through the roof so that they go away, and then they say yes.
So
and you're like, son of a bitch.
And so obviously I've done that before too. We've all done that, right? But there has to be a secondary consideration in there, and that's the customer themselves, right? Because the ones that you're talking about there are, they're not only is it a problem job, but they're a bit of a problem customer too, or a potential problem customer. And kind of it's just very difficult, but you do have to profile to some degree, right? Because we don't know everybody's situation, so you can't prejudge everybody. But if it's reasonable to assume I'm getting ready to take their last dime on earth to get this car fixed, and there's a chance that there's, other stuff, in other words, I'm just fixing this problem to get it back on the road, but there's going to be other things wrong with the car, then we'll wash our hands of it, make the recommendation out the door, because it's just not worth it. Like you said, and you can't really blame them. Their expectation level is high because you've taken everything that they have, right?
Yeah,
they've invested their entire net worth into fixing the vehicle. And usually if you're investing your entire net worth into fixing the vehicle, you're not fixing everything on the vehicle. You're fixing an engine or a transmission, some sort of large repair, but there's still going to be other things.
Still 180,000 miles.
Still 180,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, and we make that mistake too. We bought an engine in March that we didn't really do anything wrong. It wasn't a workmanship error. It wasn't anything like that. We did a large repair on a customer's vehicle, and it was a 190,000 mile Jeep. And it did 190,000 mile Jeep things a day after it left.
Oof.
And so wasn't related to the repair. But you feel bad in the situation of, you either stick to your guns and draw a hard line and say, nope, wasn't my fault. If you don't like it, it's 90 million miles of highway. It starts at the end of the driveway.
You're such a
or
dick.
you suck it up and try to retain the customer.
Yeah, I get it. We were dealing with one like that this morning. One of the guys was telling me it's a customer that we've been telling for over 2 years that their engine mounts were blown out, and it's worn a hole in the flex by the catalytic converter, and she has a new exhaust leak from the muffler. And she assumed that all the sound was coming from that exhaust leak. And we're like, hey, and she shouted down the advisor, I know about that. I'm not worried about that. Just fix the muffler. And fix the muffler. And she comes back and says, still making exhaust noise. Yeah, because that hole is getting bigger and bigger from the converter. And so, when it is all of their free money, all of their reserve and emergency account, there is an emotional imperative that the car be like new again. Like, not literally like new, but yeah, you're just more likely to have customer perceived comeback situations, so.
And that's where, really good intake conversations come in, making sure that you're taking time to build that relationship with the customer to understand exactly who they are, what they have going on. And are you the best place to really service their vehicle, right? Like, we oftentimes, we live in a vacuum in ASTA and Changing the Industry podcast, Facebook groups and all of these things. And a lot of your listeners are the ones coming to the training events and stuff like that. And we look down on some of these other shops, but there does need to be different levels of service, right? And somebody has to keep some of these vehicles running. So somebody has to have a $70 labor rate out there.
There's a market for the Ritz Carlton, and there's a market for Motel 6.
Yeah. I don't want to be that guy, because that's not what my business model is. But somebody has to keep these cars going to some degree. And so if that's not who you are, you can't give that level of service to that person. Right. And that's just, if you walked in with your flip-flops and your bikini top and, your shorts on to a Ruth's Chris, they wouldn't serve you. right?
How much would you pay me if I agreed to walk in flip flops and shorts and a bikini top into a Ruth's Chris with you?
I'd give you $100 to see it, Mike.
I think I'm gonna need 500 and 3 drinks first.
I bet if I gave you the 3 drinks first, the $100 would do it.
So you know what? That's what we're gonna do. That Friday night shenanigans. About 9 o'clock, we're gonna leave Carfix. We're gonna take an Uber over to the Ruth's Chris downtown, and I'm gonna need to borrow a bikini top from someone. Sorry, I don't have one.
Okay, so $100, and if they seat us, I'll pay the tab.
I don't think there will be a tab because we're going to get kicked out. All right. That's, man, I'll take shit I shouldn't have said on the air for 1,000, Alex. Man. I do have a question for you. I want to ask, and this is totally, ancillary. This is a conversation that I was having with some friends the other day. Where do you stand on, engagement bait video clips on social media? Like,
say that. Ask me that question again.
Rage bait to get
rage baiting. I mean, I don't know that I have an opinion on it. I think
it's the best.
I mean, I think sometimes it's funny. It's difficult to tell sometimes what's rage baiting and what's being. I would say that's the only thing that. Just because.
We're going to get a clip from this episode of you saying that any technician from Firestone or AAA is a crook, and we'll see how the engagement goes from that.
Yeah, so I would say, you remember months ago or last year, I guess, there was the Friday posts that were happening inside of the Facebook groups, and things were, spinning out of control there. The problem with that was, and a few people pointed out, it was really difficult to tell the difference between the rage baiting posts for a while, and then obviously then they just kept escalating into more and more
outlandish.
But I mean, when it first started, it was like you really couldn't tell who was asking a real question that was on the surface level I can't believe this person is really asking this question in an open forum, or somebody that was making a rage bait post. So other than that, because there's been a few of them that I've looked at them, and you start digging into it, and then you're like, this is a rage bait post, and I just wasted 5 minutes of my life reading the comments on it. But I mean, from a marketing standpoint, they do what they do. They work well, right? I mean, they get attention. Well,
I am here for the pot stirring and speaking of stirring pots, sorry, I did not mean for this episode to become shameless self-promotion, but I submitted a class for ASTA Expo, and I don't know if it'll be accepted or not. We'll see. But it's Tanika Haynes, myself, and Lucas Underwood, and it's an owners-only class, max 50 people, and it's born of Tanika's famous quote, "What they eat don't make you fat." And it's a conversation about why you got to stop worrying about how other shop owners operate their business and worry about your own. And it's really going to be kind of an open discussion across a myriad of topics. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's a very good topic. And it's something that needs to, because this is a difficult industry, to be competitors in, just because our natural instinct is to talk crap about every other competitor in the area. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be that way, right? It just doesn't. Like I said, I mean, there's competition there. Competition is good. We can run competing campaigns against each other, and we can do this and we can do that, but you don't see restaurant industries really do that much. You don't see, you just don't see it in many other industries, right?
There's more cars driving by outside than I can ever work on.
Yeah.
So
the dealerships, right? I mean, like car dealerships. I mean, they're directly competing with the exact same product, and you don't see them. You don't you've never gone to a car lot and talk to them about. I stopped over there, and they were like, "Oh my God, that's all they do over there is just beat people over the head, and they're going to pack an extra $5,000 into this car, and they just, they're just ripping off grandmas and little old ladies, and
for real.
They just don't do that. And it would be easy in their industry to do it, right? But for whatever reason they don't, and we do. And it's so it's a topic that needs to get brought up more often. Because the rising tides do, it raises all ships. And if we do want to change, it's because we put the customer in a really difficult situation there, because it's really difficult for them because they're kind of caught in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They come to me and we talk about how terrible CarFix is, and they go to CarFix and they're like, oh, Strut Daddies, they're awful. And, they're stuck in the middle trying to figure out which one's telling them the truth,
Well, the one that's telling them the truth is the one who tells them what it is they want to hear, whichever is easier for the wallet, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think you should come to that. Now, the course description does say no coaches, no filters, no vendors. But since you're a shop owner, I think you can sneak in. But if you are a listener and you haven't been to ASTA Expo, go to the Confessions of a Shop Owner podcast page, and there's a pinned post at the top that is a link. I'm giving away up to 10 free tickets for a first-time shop owner to attend ASTA Expo, thanks to my wonderful sponsors like Elite Worldwide. That are making that possible through the podcast. But you can fill out the application there. It's a few short questions and 17 long essays and a video testimonial. It's not really that much, but come to the expo. I'd love to meet you guys and shake hands. Matt's going to be there the whole time. It's a great event, and I'm looking forward to it. I know that Tools in Pennsylvania is coming up later this week. This episode is actually going to be released right after that. So Brian Pollock's going to be there recording episodes without me. So God knows what kind of conversations they're going to get into while Dad's away. It should be a good time.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I think it will be.
Maybe he'll bring the feet back,
Oh, sweet baby Jesus. I'm going to be at a Napa event in Mexico. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun.
You taking the wife?
Yeah, you think I would go without her? I've traveled a lot without my wife of late, and it has gotten me. It's gotten me the cold shoulder with the family in general.
Sure.
So I was in Fort. Man, have you been to Huska Automotive yet in Fort Collins?
I have not. I was very disappointed that the way it's scheduled out this year, I was not going to be able to make that one.
Whew, what an operation, man! And what just awesome individuals they've got in that organization from front to back, and they're doing, I don't know if they want me to even share, but they're doing bigger numbers than any shop I've ever been to in Houston. And they're doing it kind of the classic way, not with any big change or big difference.
I tell you, it's every single time I go to a pro service event, and, I was at Toledo a couple weeks before Huska's that you were just at. It's just humbling to get around some of those people. I was on the phone. I actually drove there and back because this was all the TSA strike thing. And it was like, man, I've been doing a lot of travel of late too, without my family. And the last thing I wanted to do was get stuck in the airport and not be able to get back home. So I was like, well, if I rent a car and drive up there, at least I can leave whenever I need to leave and I can get back. So I was on the way back, and I called my dad and talked with him for a little bit. And, he's been fortunate to be very successful in business over his lifetime. But sitting next to some of the people in that room, I was like, had we known had we known 20, 30 years ago what I know now, of the automotive industry and doing automotive repair and what some of these guys were able to do over the last 20, 30 years, I said, man, we missed the boat big time. And it's just really impressive, and it's humbling, to be around people that have done so much inside of this industry. And I remember the first time my first pro service meeting was at Houston, and I left. I didn't even think it was possible for an automotive repair shop to really do that. Like a big mega 25 bay location or something like that. But, you've been to Harrison's multiple times, and from a building standpoint, it's not like it's the most impressive thing in the world.
It's a building, and they're crushing it,
just killing it. And, you go sit and talk to some of these other guys and see the numbers that they're able to do out of a 4-bay store or 8-bay store. And then, or just the empires that they're able to build and add on to over the years. And it's just, like I said, it's incredibly humbling. It's inspiring. And if you're not part of a peer group, I strongly recommend looking into it. If you are one of those individuals that's trying to get the most out of your career and time in this industry, because you can either spend 20 years trying to figure out how to do it all yourself, or you can go to those meetings and, they call it R&D, which is rip off and duplicate, baby. Right? And it speeds up that learning curve tremendously. And like I said, just opens you up to possibilities that you wouldn't have thought were achievable prior to going and seeing somebody else do it,
Yeah. I mean, and it also, I have a little bit of imposter syndrome when I'm in the room with those guys, right? Because just seeing what they're producing and their leadership skills and the teams that they've built. And then you get to hang out with them, and they're just hardworking dudes,
Yep.
and women that are just in there constantly studying to be better at what they do and surrounding themselves with people who are better. So I'm just lucky to be in the room, so.
Yep. No, I feel the same way.
Yeah. Well, dude, thanks for taking the time to chat this month. And I will see you. Will I see you before Expo? When will I see you again? We need to just get.
Will you be at STX?
Need to get together. Me, you, and Tanika need to get together and hang out.
We do need to get together. Yeah.
So let's
absolutely. Will you be at STX this year?
No. If I go to another show, I'm going to be strung up by my toes. Although, I mean, you weren't at Tectonic, man. That was awesome. They put on a hell of a show. Darren did great on stage, on the big stage, with all the coaches. So that was a lot of fun. And overall, it was a great event. I look forward to going back next year. I got to take the family next year, man. That hotel with the Texas outline, lazy river. My kids would have been in that thing the whole day. It's a super neat downtown area.
Well, I've never had the opportunity to meet Sunil, but I've been just a general fan of his and the way he runs his business, and the fact that he is so open to feedback and so engaged in the feedback. So I know, with this being the first event, I'm sure they got a ton of feedback, and knowing how aggressive he is about, trying to take that feedback seriously and improve, I'm sure next year will be even better.
Can't wait. Cool, dude. See you in a little bit.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, guys. AI class. Learn how to use AI so that you can make it your bitch and you don't become its bitch. Saturday, June 13th, Seth Thorson's teaching a full day class in Raleigh, North Carolina. Tap the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on your screen to learn more. It's going to be awesome. Hey, thanks so much for watching our video today. If you enjoyed this content and you'd like to see some more, you can click right here. And it would be really helpful for me if you thought that this level of mediocrity is something that could help your other friends that were shop owners or in the industry. You can click right here and subscribe. You can even set up notifications if you want. I'd love to have you on the channel.